Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center. It's our favorite time of the week. We got the coolest new knives that just hit our shelves right here in front of me, and it's the battle between shiny and dull this week. Let's check them out. So perhaps dull was the wrong word to use when we're talking about knives.
It's a word.
But the knives themselves, the edges are not dull on these knives. But the finishes on some of them, including this Benchmade PSK, are. So we're gonna go with that. That's what I mean by like dull versus shiny or whatever I said before. The bench.
A long time ago. Who remembers?
It seems so long ago. For all they know, it might have been a long time ago.
It was last week.
This is the Benchmade PSK. It is a less expensive version of the Benchmade PSK. It's still not a cheap version, but it is less than the $400 of the standard version. This new version dropping today is $325. And with that, there is a change in blade steel. Rather than MagnaCut, you've got Elmax steel in this case. Still a very high performance steel, just doesn't quite have the same high marks in all three main categories of like knife steel performance. This is decently tough, not as tough as MagnaCut, holds an edge really well. Not sure exactly how it would compare on edge retention wise to MagnaCut, but both of them are gonna get very high marks, and it is stainless. But the main thing you're giving up with this steel rather than MagnaCut is it's not quite as tough. It's still a plenty strong knife, however. 3.4 inches on the blade, versatile drop point shape, kind of a do everything type of blade shape. And indeed, they call this the PSK because it stands for Personal Survival Kit. Not Personal Survival Knife. Kit is the actual word, meaning they kind of intend this to be like your one tool option for survival as a folding knife that you would take into that type of scenario. Yes, a fixed blade's always going to be stronger, but some people, for one reason or another, don't want to or can't carry a fixed blade. This could be an option for you. The handles are two-tone grivery. We've got storm gray. Wait.
Tempest is a storm.
Storm gray handles, Tempest gray bolsters. I knew I saw the word Tempest there for a minute. So I guess it's gray.
You can put it in a teapot.
I would have called it black. I would have called it black, but I guess it's kind of a graphite, dark gray in that case. I do like the colors better, personally. Than the other versions, mainly because I like lighter colored blades and those other versions have black coated blades, and I tend to like a satin blade in general, so this at least kind of brings it back to my personal sensibilities. Your mileage, of course, will vary. We've got the axis lock here, giving you that crossbar action. It is assisted in this case, so you can't flick it closed as quickly as you can other axis assist or non-assisted axis knives, but you do have repeatable action every time. And historically, it's been pretty easy to de-assist their assisted models if that's something that interests you. I'm not endorsing said behavior, and it may indeed void your warranty.
On your own head, be it.
It's just information. The cool thing, though, even if you do that, is you've got, with the assisted versions of their axis lock, this secondary spine-mounted safety right here, adding just a little bit more, strength, peace of mind, redundancy if any of the springs were to fail, especially if you're surviving, quote unquote. That's always a cool feature. We've got a deep carry pocket clip, mostly deep carry, and it is reversible for carry on either side. You've got the black oxide finish on the clip. It's gonna make it wear nice and evenly over time. It's a nice design. Fills my hand pretty nicely. It's quite and pretty. I guess quitty is what comes out.
British currency.
Loony?
The quid.
The quid, yeah.
Read a book, dude.
I'm tired.
And the loony's Canadian.
I know, it's fine. I'm loopy, so pardon me. Good design. Fills the hand quite nicely. Another tough folder to talk about here. Up next, for about the same price actually, and also involving springs in its opening mechanism, new version of the ZT512 for $320. US made, just like the Benchmade. 3.45 inch on the blade length, actually very similar amounts of edge, maybe slightly more edge on the ZT. About the same really though. Crew wear blade steel right here. So Edge retention is very good. Toughness is also very good. Not stainless in this case, however. So that could be a difference between the two here. More stainless, less tough. Less stainless, more tough. Shake, shake, shake. Shake and repeat. Micarta on this version, the 512 OL if you're keeping track. It is still titanium on the back, stonewashed titanium, and a thin layer of titanium on the front with that micarta scale on top. Gold accents on the firing button and the barrel spacer here at the back, one of the two barrel spacers. And yes, it is a firing button because this is a springy knife. It is a full automatic in this case. Fills the hand pretty nicely here. A little bit less overall handle length than the PSK we just looked at, but a pretty versatile shape to use. Your fingers can hang off the back of that handle without kind of like losing out on your grip. Less of the finger guard on this one as well, but very, very nice design. It is going to be a little bit thicker on the blade steel than the PSK, which with the tougher blade steel as well is going to maybe make this one a bit more durable. It's going to depend, of course, whether the lock fails before the steel on either of these knives, because that could always happen, or at least the pivot hardware anyway. But the steel itself, even more durability brought to the game. Deep carry pocket clip with reversibility on this knife as well. Let me just appreciate that action one more time. Duly appreciated. Pretty cool. There's still the other two standard versions available as well if you like something a little different. We've also got new versions of their Model 4 fixed blade, similar to this one we just looked at, as well as a new blacked out version, which I don't have on the table, that has black micarta and a black blade. This one has green micarta and the, what are they calling this finish? Oh, it's not a finish. In either of these cases, it's just a dark stone wash. So it's not a coating, I should say. It is a finish. It's not a coating on either of these blades. You do have a coating on that Benchmade. Wow, I'm firing on all cylinders here. Cerakote on that Benchmade.
All two cylinders. All two.
There's 1.5 going right now, chugging along, just barely. Puffing.
And the piston rings are shot.
The Model 4 is a very nice design. I like it very much. Good survival knife option here, in my opinion, as well. It's got a little hint of kind of tacticality to it, but you don't have a really aggressive finger guard. If that's something you look for in a tactical knife, that's, it's there, but it's not huge. But I just love, this is a super versatile design. 4.2 inches, crew wear steel again here. So a very good balance of performance, not stainless. So if you're looking for that, maybe look elsewhere, but I don't mind. Really nicely designed handles on these. There's enough girth and a good enough shape to work on a lot of different hand sizes. Again, neutral back end for larger hands as well. My slightly larger than average hands feel pretty great on it. Bit of a thumb ramp here. Small point right here. Doesn't really add too much in terms of functionality, I don't think, but it does provide a little place for you to push your thumb there if you want, as well as aesthetically looking very cool. Unguarded finger choil if you want to choke up on that knife. That might be my only personal change if I were designing this knife, is to bring that edge back a little further, because, don't necessarily think you need the choil on a knife this small, but I do like the knife. The shape is awesome. Any kind of outdoor work is I think where this thing really, really shines. Jimping here at the back, the pommel slightly protrudes. Yeah, it's just super nice. I'm trying to see if there's, some of these edges do feel crisp enough to strike a fire steel if you're into that sort of thing. That's pretty nice consideration. The sheath has gone. Hey, there it is. Thank you, Thomas. Didn't have it on the back there.
I left it with the knife.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing these days. Here it is. Just investigate here. Yeah, okay, so leather paddle style sheath right here. You have attachment hardware for the belt, which is provided, but can screw on and off. So you can actually flip this around, so you can set this up for right-handed or left-handed use. You do have the retention strap right here. Oops, giving you a little bit of extra, come on, there we go. A little bit extra grip rather than just relying on the fit of the sheath. And it looks like the holes here are Tech-Lock compatible. They are indeed. So if you wanted to put something like a belt attachment like a Tech-Lock on it, you theoretically could. Although I might keep the the retention strap in the process if I were doing that. Very, very cool knife. Next up, we're getting a little bit shinier now. The elite versions of the Buck Range series. We've got pretty much all of them in stock now. that is the higher end version. Rather than 154 cm steel, we have Magna Cut on these folders in both a 3.38 or 3 3/8 inch size, and was it 2 3/4 or 2 5/8 on the smaller. Gray, black, and green are the color options. We're at 210 for the mini and 220 for the full size. So not a huge gap between them. You're not going to like save a heck of a lot of money by going with the small. It's more for if you need a small knife like this. And the small knife, while I got it, it's about a 3-finger grip for me. Your mileage may vary, but it feels pretty decently classy. I love the implementation of the deep carry pocket clip here, tail mounted. The first knife I experienced that had a tail mounted deep carry clip like this was the Buck Vantage. And this knife right here has a very clear descent path from the design of the Vantage. It's not an identical shape, but it is very similar. So I'm glad they kept that type of deep carry clip on the high-end versions here. The less expensive versions do screw in from the side. It is reversible, but I just like the cleanliness of the tail mount and the true deep carry that the tail mount affords as well. That's just a really, really nice thing. The full size, full 4-finger grip for me. Some finger guard on all of these. You've got the aluminum scales here rather than injection molded on the less expensive versions. The less expensive versions do have a bit more contour to them, and I do like that a lot. These carry a little bit slimmer because of the flat aluminum construction. So make your choice based on your priorities, of course. Jimping on the spine right here on both of them feels good, not too aggressive, but gives you some grip. Action, very nice. Yeah. Ooh. Smooth. It's very smooth, man. I like it. I like them a lot. I actually have one because I liked it a lot.
Good job.
Yeah, versatile blade shape overall. Certainly on it. Feels cool. One of the most exciting releases from Buck in a good bit, I think. Which is not to say they haven't had others, but it's very exciting. Check them out. That's all so far. We have some more US made stuff coming up later, but all of this so far has been US made. This next one is a new brand, and we got from dull to shiny. Now we're getting a little more brilliant, a little more colorful. The Pepperwool brand Merino MM. And if you followed along with SOG knives in the last few years, this may look kind of familiar to you. There's certainly a familiarity in design language and materials choice and construction here that we're seeing that feels kind of SOG-like, and there is an actual reason for that. The leader of Pepperwool is a former vice president of product development at SOG before they were acquired by GSM. So he struck out on his own, and this is the first release we're able to bring you from Pepperwool. A nice small crossbar locking flipper right here. You've got S35 VN for the blade steel. It's just over 2 inches long, and the whole knife here is coming in at about 130 bucks. Handles are white G10. You've got these green accents, branding there on the back spacer. The coolest thing, in my opinion, though, is the pocket clip. It is tail mounted. I talked just a second ago about how I enjoy that, but it's really cool. It's a single screw, and it's fitting into another metal piece with a matching finish to kind of provide the extra anchoring that it needs. So even though it just has a single screw, it's not loose, it's not wiggling around, which is really cool. It's also a milled clip in that type of deep carry construction, which is a much more rare thing to see, and also a very cool thing to see. Cool mini knife. It does have a flipper. I will admit, for my slightly larger than average hands, I've said that a lot today, haven't I? The flipper is a little bit more difficult to use. It doesn't have a super strong detent feel, and of course that's something that's endemic to any crossbar lock with a flipper. You don't get a crisp detent like you do with a liner or a frame lock. But just the size of it is a little bit tricky for me. The crossbar lock, however, using it with that wrist flick open and closed, no problem. That feels pretty cool. Really like it. This could be a real cool option if you want something that feels less tactical. You want something that, you know, is friendlier. This could be a great office knife that, you know, looks more, and I say this in a good way, like it looks almost cute in a way rather than aggressive. That can be a very cool thing. This is always fun to just see something different. I've said before, we see a lot of black knives with black blades or silver handle or silver blade. We see a lot of black when it comes to knife finishes. So I always appreciate something a little bit different. Let me know what you think down in the comments.
Official knife of the Itty Bitty Flippy Committee.
The Itty Bitty Flippy Committee. He said that earlier, and I told him he had to say it on video, and he said he didn't think he could manage without laughing. Well done, buddy. Well done.
That was take 2.
For all they know. All right, let's really dial up the colorful nature. Also dropping today, a new collection, the Iridescent collection from CRKT. Sounds almost like a fragrance or something. Not that we necessarily want the fragrance of Portland, or wait, are they technically Portland? It's Portland. It's like outside of Portland, I think.
West Coast.
They're
on that side of the mountains.
The essence of Portland. The rainbow finishes are back, apparently. 5 new options here. We have, for one thing, the Van Hoy Snap Lock knife in a full iridescent finish. Price on this is going to be about $110. For that, we have got 2.5 inch blade, just over 2.5, 420J2, just like the standard version. And so it's not like a high-end knife steel, but it's the engineering and the kind of cool factor that makes this knife, oops, went the wrong way, the thing. And if you hadn't experienced it before, that is how you close it. And you open it the opposite. I'm always a little bit nervous about doing these one-handed. It can be done, but there you go. Rotates to the side. This piece right here, this cam or lever essentially, is what breaks through the detent. If it's just sitting there, it's not going to push out. Push this down, then it will start to rotate. And there you have that knife. It actually is, despite the kind of, you know, novelty looks, it always has felt good in hand to me. You've got a little bit of a finger guard even with some jimping, and you know, a shape that nestles in there quite nicely. This is not going to be a, you know, heavy use type of design, but it's got a nice blade shape for, you know, breaking down boxes, opening packaging, scoring, you know, basic cuts, that sort of thing. All these iridescent knives also come with a, you know, color, I say color matched, but a coordinating cord here at the back. Looks to be paracord, and matching lanyard bead as well. So you can check that out. We have 2 versions of the Facet from Ken Onion. The lower priced version is with 12C27 steel. Price on this is about $80, and unlike previous versions, or on the lower end of things, because we do have a true higher end version, this is not an assisted opening version of the knife. It is ball bearings flipping with a nice detent going on. So if that's held you back from previous versions and the iridescent finish doesn't hold you back on this one, you could get that, you know, manual action right here. Blade here is 3.37 inches, and it is a reverse tanto.
Welcome to Reverse Tanto Land.
I actually don't mind as much calling this a reverse tanto, at least because it does kind of echo the same vibes as the Benchmade 940, which is the knife that introduced the term reverse tanto. And indeed, this, you know, the Facet is, you know, a decent budget option when it comes, if you're looking for an alternative to the 940. Standard version is about $54 with, you know, standard stainless steel handles, not the iridescent finish here, and D2 steel, $54. This one's a little bit more and a little bit extra, shall we say. We've also got the highest end version. This version, $240, and we've got a Damasteel blade, matching milled pocket clip in this case as well, as opposed to the deep carry on the standard version. The handles are also titanium in this case rather than aluminum, and the finish is shiny, but it's not as shiny as the steel handled version. It's got a little bit more of a matte character to it. I think it feels pretty good too. You get a little bit of texture with that particular finish. Very cool. And of course, ball bearings in the pivot. Same great flipping action right here as well. If you want a higher end version of this, but not this kind of aesthetic, for $275, there are a few versions in the series with M390 steel. Next up, from Richard Rogers, we've got a new version of the HangTi as well as the new Hang Pry, and these are gonna be about 80 bucks. Titanium finish again. This one, basically a 1-inch Kiridashi style blade. It is chisel ground, so you could use it as a right-hand marking knife in this case, or just a small utility fixed blade. Edge retention, you know, it's titanium, so it's not gonna hold an edge super long, but it is like, it weighs next to nothing. I mean, even with, you know, the lanyard and bead on there, 0.35 ounces. That's why you carry something like this. And it does come with that small sheath right there. Attach it to, you know, a lanyard or something like that. It's gonna be how you wanna carry that bad boy. And the pry doesn't quite come to a sharp edge. You probably could put a sharp edge on that if you wanted to. It might take just a little bit of time, but you've got a small titanium pry right here as well. Let me just make sure, 70 bucks on those. Did I say 80 before? I didn't mean it if that was the case. So there you go. That's the Iridescent collection from CRKT. Available now at TJ Maxx.
No, it's not.
No, it's not actually.
And before you think we were denigrating Portland, let me remind you, every city stinks.
That's pretty much. There's a lot of cool knife companies in Portland. I've been. It's very fun. Next up, speaking of, actually, Gerber is another one of those companies from Portland, and they are bringing back the Gerber Ghostrike. And it is available as of today. Still made in Portland, Oregon. If you've seen this knife before, you know, when it used to be available, the specs haven't really changed, but they stopped making it for a while. And they're happy to be bringing it back and keeping it a US made model. 75 bucks is the price. You've got a just over 3-inch blade with a harpoon tip, 420HC steel, and a hollow grind. You know, basic stuff, but feels pretty sturdy overall. We've got sort of a overmold, almost a dip, it kind of feels like, for the handle, giving you not a whole lot of girth, keeping things subtle, slim, easily concealable if that's what you need, without, you know, like losing grip, or while adding grip that keeps a thin knife like this from being, you know, something that would like fart on you. I mean, like slip out of your fingers, if you know what I mean.
Like a fish.
Like a fish. Balance on this knife is decent. I feel like this knife used to feel more blade heavy to me because I remember reviewing it back in the day, but that's not too bad actually. Pretty neutral balance going on. Maybe there have been some changes, I don't know.
Came back as the ghost of the ghost.
Yeah, it could be. Decent daily utility, also a fairly concealable, you know, self-defense thing if you need something like that. The sheath itself has always been my favorite part of the knife. It is very modular and versatile, and I love the way they've achieved ambidextrous clip-in, essentially. You've got these 2 grooves or 2 hooks on the blade itself, and while this one at the back, actually that's better too. I remember that used to be more of a hot spot back in the day. I think, could be wildly off on this, but I think they've softened that a little bit, so it's less of an ergonomic impediment, while still giving the places for these 2, you know, they're bars, right? Yeah, these 2 spring loaded bars to grab onto. That's pretty cool. Comes set up for horizontal carry with these 2 loops right here. You could move these to the side and carry them horizontal. And let me, that's the word, thank you, Thomas. And let me check, can't remember, they are not Tech-Lock compatible, so you won't be able to use that. But with this, horizontal or vertical can be achieved. Welcome back to the Ghostrike. All right, let's keep the small fixed blades going. Interestingly, this knife right here, which is the Small Lov from MKM, designed by Jesper Vaknes, is thicker and chunkier than the Gerber Ghostrike, and yet is also optimized for pocket carry, or at least that's the sheath that they're providing right here. It is MKM's ingenious magnetic leather pocket sheath. You can slip it into your pocket. The flap acts as the pocket clip with the magnet holding it in place. It's very kind on your pockets. You know, knife guys know you've got the pair of jeans. Over time, you might wear a hole in the, or wear a groove in the edge where the pocket clip sits. Not going to be a problem here. This is going to have a fair bit of handle sticking up, as you can see, so that it's not a very discreet pocket fixed blade. Keep that in mind if you're interested in this. But I am really digging the ergonomics of this knife, quite honestly, because it is a pretty thick handle overall on a just 2.91 inch M390 blade in this case. This is marbled carbon fiber for the handles. Other flavors are, of course, available. Prices start at $170 for micarta, about $180 for wood, about $190 for this option right here. 3 to 3.5 finger grip for me. Could choke up and almost get 4 fingers on there, but this could, you know, for a small knife, I feel like I could push pretty hard, especially if I'm like carving wood and I need to put some force behind a cut. That could work really, really nicely. Could also work nicely as a small hunting knife. Just make sure it's clean before it goes back in the magnetic leather sheath, of course. Crown spine, nice Italian style. Little spot of jimping there. My thumb can reach it pretty nicely, and index finger too, but I'm kind of choked back a little bit on there. I would probably more likely be using it like so if I were you know, putting my index finger out on the spine. Protruding spine there at the back. Ooh, actually, I forgot to mention, this is actually the coolest detail. Tapered tang as well. So you can see how thick it is up here. It's about 5/32 of an inch. It's fairly thick. The high flat grind there will kind of counteract that a little bit to make it still slicey, but then tapering all the way towards the back, a little bit of jimping on the spine there. Just really, really cool. There you go. The MKM Small Lov. Next from MKM, we have the Detonario. There's a name for you. A TNT collaboration. 3.31 inch blade, M390 steel, and price on this is pretty reasonable for Italian made with this type of materials. Only about $140 right now. Pretty nicely done. The blade is a, suppose we could call that a tanto. It's barely a tanto. It's almost more of like a straight spine puko in a way. It's kind of interesting. Full flat grind, decent thinness on the blade means it should slice pretty nicely. Very acute at the tip, so that's going to pierce very, very cleanly and efficiently, I think.
A pucto.
A pucto, sure. This is how they're keeping the price down, actually. These handles are aluminum, but they've got versions this as well as like a kind of bronze anodized version that look almost like titanium, quite honestly. Black handles also available with or without, or with a stonewash or a black blade. Green handles also available if you want something a little bit more flashy. Meets in the back, the two sides of the handle, I mean, so no visible back spacers or anything. You do have a chamfered seam right there, so it gives it a little bit of character. Pretty clean overall, I would say though. Front, you've got the pivot screw and the single screw there at the back. Very, very cleanly done. On the backside, you do see the backside of the pivot, and you see the milled pocket clip screwed in from that screw on the opposite side. Very cool. We've got an inset liner lock for security, which is nice and classy, and 2 opening methods. You've got a front flipper, but I don't do front flippers no more. And you've got thumb studs for a nice thumb flick right there. Not the strongest detent in the world, but still pretty decent. Reverse flick works great as well. Feels good, actually. I haven't even considered the ergonomics until just now. It's, you know, slim, tapered, versatile handle shape. Lots of hand sizes could work. You've got a little bit of clearance if you're using this as a steak knife or something like that, or anything else on the surface there. Engaging that slicing belly, you've got some knuckle clearance, which is quite nice. I always like the detail here, the MKM mountains right there, kind of milled into the pocket clip, creating a nice accent and some branding without being kind of like over the top, which is nice. Next up, we have a bunch of stuff from Kizer, actually. Another small fixed blade. This is the Phasmids, a Johann Jordan design, if I'm pronouncing your name right. About $55 for these. 2.9 inch modified sheep's foot blade, AEBL steel. One of my favorite non-powder metallurgy steels out there. It's not going to hold an edge like the stuff we talked about at the beginning, but it is a very tough steel, especially when you consider it is a stainless steel as well. On a small fixed blade like this, you can use that to basically be kind of non-discriminate in how you use it. Just kind of Attack the problem, without worrying about what you're going to do to the blade too much. Chocolate Glacier Richlight is the handle material here, which is essentially like paper micarta. Richlight uses recycled paper fibers and materials in the way it's made up, and it always feels pretty nice as well. 3.5 finger grip for me. What else do I want to say about this knife? Because I like it. I like the milled fuller right here. Gives you a little bit extra grip if you're going to pinch grip like so. That's quite nice. Geometry is pretty decent. The blade's not too thick, so even without the full height flat grind, slicing should be pretty decent. The sheath is Kydex. It comes with the slim dots style attachment right there. It's got the locking clasp, so it's not gonna pop off of your belt, but easy to get off your belt when you want to get it off of your belt. Interestingly, so it's set up for horizontal carry, vertical carry, but the 2-row style, or the slim style here, doesn't always work nicely with horizontal carry unless you drill an extra hole here, because they didn't quite leave you what you need. But standard tech lock would do the job if you have one of those. Or my recommendation, put an ulti clip on this knife, because this would be a great size and shape and design for a pocket carry fixed blade. Just my humble opinion. Next up, a couple of crossbar locking folders from the designer is Osho, who's behind the Kizer Bulldog. We have the Bulli and the Staffi. Here they are. The handles are the same, the blades are different in each of these cases. The handles are the same shape. Obviously, they're not the same configuration in these two. But several flavors of each are available. We're priced at about $239, I think, for all of them at this point. Let me just confirm real quick. Yep, $239 for all of them. The steel is S45VN. The blade length is about 3.3. Drop point on the Bulli, and harpoon tipped with a compound grind on the Staffi. Actually, a little bit of a recurve on that as well. So take your pick, essentially. This version right here, you've got a DLC finish on the blade. The material on the handle itself is Mars Valley Fat Carbon, so you get that orange going on in there. Closed backspacer, something you don't see as much on many crossbar locking knives. Makes it feel pretty classy. Milled pocket clip, right side only. Is that the case? Can't tell. Is that inset into the handle or not? I think it is right side only. If it's not, I apologize. Hidden lanyard attachment there at the back. You have Kizer's clutch lock, which you can usually see through the back here, but because it's closed, you don't. What that means is the tension, spring tension, I should say, of the crossbar lock is adjustable. You can make it snappier or looser or heavier depending on your preference. Honestly, I have never messed with them because out of the box, I've always thought they felt fine, but you have that option if you want to mix things up a little bit. Thumb ramp here on the drop point, compound grinds here as well, flat at the tip, hollow at the back, a bit of a swedge here in front of that opening hole. Because if you don't want to do the wrist flick with its finger safe closing action, you could also open this with the thumb studs or that slot. I bet you that slot does a reverse flick pretty decently. Crossbar locks don't really have detents, so you gotta get a little more wrist into it to get the action going there. I really like the aesthetics of this version of the Staffi. Yeah, personal preference. Black titanium with gray titanium bolsters. Same stuff applies in this case. It's just, different blade shape. Interesting that they gave it a different name rather than just, two different blade shapes with the same name, but hey, who am I to argue? More jimping on this one than you get on the Bulli, but no real thumb ramp. So again, suit your preferences. Feels good. Feels really good. Nice neutral handle shape again as well. Could work with any hand size I can think of. Next we have the Seagull coming in at about 70 bucks. 3-inch blade of 14C28N, which is similar to ABL that we talked about earlier. This is maybe a little bit more stainless than AEBL without giving up pretty much anything else that AEBL can bring to the table. Blue Canyon Richlight for the handles. Again, that nice paper-like material. Inset liner lock. Deep carry pocket clip, which is not reversible in this case. 3 opening methods: front flippers, which you're not going to see me do; rear flipper tab, which I actually like a lot the way this is integrated. It's just kind of a little, it's a technical term, look it up. So it's very subtle. It's not sticking out. It's not going to snag going in and out of your pocket. Well, I suppose it could actually if you hit something right here, but less sticking out to worry about. You've also got the blade cutout, and that's a nice snap on that open actually. Really, really nice. 3.5 finger grip for my standard grip back here, but you do have a small guarded finger choil here up front, giving you the ability, if your fingers aren't as large as mine, to get up there and use it thusly. Stonewashed finish on the blade, which is going to look nice even as it gets scratched up, and a hollow grind on this knife, something you don't see as much of. Well, scratch that. Something you don't see as much of from Kizer on their modern folders, but we're seeing a lot of modern makers bring hollow grinds back a little bit. And it used to be like on cheaper knives, or this is not a cheap knife, cheap necessarily, 70 bucks, it's attainable. But on like real budget knives, a hollow grind is far more efficient because you can grind from both sides at the same time. On higher end knives, like this Staffi that we saw right here, you can't really run this through a double-sided hollow grinding wheel at the same time with the higher end steels like this, especially if you're gonna do a compound grind, but that's neither here nor there. But some people like the way hollow grinds cut, so it's cool to see more options there. Check it out, the Seagull. Other colors, other flavors are of course available too. Next up we have the Raze, which is a Mark Perez design. Several flavors of this are available. This one right here is in my opinion, the most interesting one. It's 169 bucks because it's doing what Kizer is kind of staking out even more and more so as their claim to fame, or their the thing that Kizer does that not a lot of other companies do in quite the same way, especially on the import side, is they're messing around with a lot of different steels, and they're getting more creative with their handles as well. This one, sure, it's titanium with an inlaid bolster. That's not right? That's a leather inlay. That's not something you see very often. That's pretty cool. The other versions of this knife that are available have non-leather inlays. That's why I picked this one. I thought the leather was very, very interesting. Gives you a little bit of a kind of soft touch point, front and back. And of course, being leather, it will age and patina as you use it and kind of really become yours, because there will literally be a part of you in the knife, basically. 3.5 inch blade, S45 VN here as well. Very narrow tip, and yet a nice, smooth, continuous, gentle belly throughout the whole knife. Inset liner lock, titanium for the handles, mentioned that already. Milled titanium pocket clip, right side only. Again, I think that's right side. It does coincide with this, so it may be reversible, I'm not sure. Front flipper, blade cutout as well. A little bit tricky because it's kind of narrow. I guess that means I have to try the front flipper, don't I? Front flippers and I have never been the best of friends, though.
Well, you spent so long not doing them, you forgot how.
Yeah, I don't like the front flippers in general. You can slow roll it quite easily, actually. That's no problem. I'm having trouble getting a real, strong flick, and that might be because it's kind of rounded over here and pretty close to the pivot itself. You have to kind of pop some wrist into it. Then it works for me, but cool thing here, man. Leather inlay, very neat. Now a couple of slip joints from Kizer, ranging in price from just under $80 up to just under $290, depending on which version you get. I'm gonna start with the less expensive version first. This is an Azo design, 2.9 inch, 14C 28N blade here. Classic type of clip point without feeling like it's directly mimicking any classic pattern, but clearly in the same vein. Nice and thin with a pretty much full height flat grind there. Dual nail nicks on the knife, either side, which is cool. The handles, let me see, are these titanium? They are indeed titanium with natural micarta, lanyard attachment point there at the back. Really nice walk and talk. Listen to that. Very cool. Standard belt satin finish on this one. Feels very, very high quality for a modern slip joint like this, especially at 80 bucks. Like, if you're looking for something that competes with, you know, the Jack Wolf stuff out there, which is typically higher priced, this could be a nice option for you. And you could get some higher priced stuff too, as mentioned. There's Damascus blades, there's M390 blades. There's also, interestingly, the most expensive version is an S45 VN blade, which is this right here. And it's not because of the steel. You can get M390 for about $190. You can get S45 for about $170, or you can get it with the mother of pearl inlays, front and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces for $290. Just really, really nicely done inlays, front and back. Full titanium handles otherwise. Horizontal grain finish on the S45 blade. Just super, super classy. Yeah. The high-end version also comes with a small pocket slip that has a belt loop, so you can throw it on the belt as well if you want, or just in the pocket like so. I'm not sure if any of the intermediate models come with the slip sheath. Actually, some of them do, it looks like. So just check out the individual pictures on the product page to see whether they do or don't in this case. All right, now on to another auto, another MagnaCut blade, the US-made Defiant 7 Seax from Defiant 7. What I just said, duh. This is actually a collaboration with Ryan Johnson of RMJ Tactical. You'll see that there on the back of the blade right here. So the handles here are 3D milled aluminum. You've got like just a subtle hint of directionality to the finish there, and not in like an unfinished, you know, machine type of finish. It feels very intentional the way they've done it, and it's hard to pick up on under the light here, so I hope it comes across. But it is really cool. It has a little bit of a more interesting feel than just flat aluminum. And then the blade, of course, Seax, spelled S-E-A-X, which comes from kind of, you know, the Nordic tradition of using a sword once it's been broken as a smaller knife. So, you know, Seax literally means, I think, broken, if I'm remembering. I could be very wrong about that. But basically, the broken back Seax is the styling you've got right here. MagnaCut blade steel, 3.5 inches long, not too thick, not too thin, high flat grind, so it should slice pretty well. It should also be very, very tough. The tip should penetrate quite easily thanks to the narrow cross section. Standard 3-hole pocket clip here on the right side, stonewash finish on that as well. And let's check out, if we can, the action. Pretty good. Thuds into place quite nicely. There you go, check it out, don't miss it. And last but certainly not least, kicking up the tactical several notches, we've got new KHARMA Gen 3 AKHAN, which means Viper, from LOTAR Combat, or AKHAN Ophel Edition. I don't know what that means, I'm sorry. You can get this with the Damascus blade right here. It's a VG10 Damascus, or you can get it with M390. 396 for the M390, 475 for the Damascus right here. And this is not really like a cutting or slicing knife. This is a, you know, bit of a bludgeon in the karambit space. The blade steel is thick. I mean, that's, you know, 1/4 inch thick or so, and then very abrupt grinds, double-edged. You've got the full hawkbill recurved to the hawkbill here is sharp, as well as the back, and some rudimentary serrations here behind that as well. Plenty of space for my hands and a standard karambit grip, which is inverted compared to any other grip you might, or any other knife you might hold it this way. So even though it's inverted, it's proper, so to speak. And then you could, of course, use it for you know, utilitarian stuff in a pinch like that if you need to. Aluminum handles, lots of pass-throughs here, of course. The sheath is Kydex. There it is. Comes with a rotatable belt clip right there with a J-hook to keep it from slipping off inadvertently. So you could carry that vertical or horizontal, and then with slots and holes on the sides, pretty much any aftermarket thing could be made to work if you want to make it to work. Make it to work with the LOTAR, I guess. That's it for today, folks. Let me know what you thought of the knives down in the comments. Let me know. Our rainbow finish is back. feedback down below. And if you want to get your hands on any of these items, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running knife rewards program or our Sezzle payment options at checkout if you want to make some of these more expensive knives a little bit easier to manage. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.